Welcome back to Blaze TV. It's Ed Kimberley here, and my guest on this episode is Blaze coach Danny Stewart. Danny, it's great to see you. A lot going on to catch up on, isn't there? So I guess we'll start with the slightly less positive news in that David Brawl announced that he's retiring, and that's in so many ways a big loss for the club.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I think obviously, it's been well documented over the last couple of years. He's a big part of our team and our organization, and to lose him is a big loss on and off the ice. Obviously his presence in the room. He's, like I said, big part of our leadership team and our day-to-day energy, if you will, and and on the ice as well, his presence, and when he's on his game, he's a tough player to defend and a tough player to play against. And, it's going to be a big miss for us. He's, like I said, he's a big part of our group. And, it's unfortunate that it's turned out this way.
And it's a challenging situation to put you in as a coach, obviously, because you've got the hockey side of things and manage them as hockey players, but you've also got to manage them as people, haven't you? And that was the decision you kind of had to make by letting him go and pursuing the fire service opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you can take it, I guess, one of two ways. You can take it personal, or maybe I don't know, maybe someone with a bigger ego would take it more personal. I don't know. I feel like these guys, like, look, it's not the Premiership, it's not the NHL. These guys aren't making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. It's and life after hockey can be quite daunting for some of these guys as well. So, I'd like to think that us as a staff, as an organization, we're not just invested in these guys as hockey players, but also people as well. I mean, we talk so much about getting good people in. It'd be a shame if we treated them otherwise. And big opportunity for Brawler to pursue something outside of hockey and I guess that next chapter of his life. And all he asked for was a couple weeks to pursue it. And obviously we granted him that. And I think it was, a testament to the organization for doing that. And obviously it's come to fruition and worked out for him. And look, from a personal standpoint, David Bowler as a I guess a coworker, if you want to call him that, or a friend as well, I'm thrilled for him. I'm thrilled for him. It was a big opportunity for him, and that worked out. Obviously, from a coaching standpoint and a working standpoint, you're a bit frustrated, you're a bit disappointed, but obviously you got to be understanding at the same time, given the situation. So, we wish Bowler the best of luck, and I know he'll be looking in on us every once in a while, and he'll remain a fan favorite for this organization for a very long time.
Yeah, no, for sure. He made a big impact in just a couple of years, didn't he? And also in slightly less positive news, Matthew Thompson, his injury is going to keep him out for the year, coach.
Yeah, no, it's a very big loss for us. It looks that way. He's that's the diagnosis, and barring some miracle, or the season getting extended longer than we expect, I don't think we'll see him back. And it's a massive loss for us. Obviously in the off season there, we had lost some key guys. Obviously bringing back a core was key, but we'd also lost some key guys, including, Andrew Johnson and Charlie Kirkoren, our two top centers. And it was obviously a goal of ours to try and replace those guys. Very tough task. And, we managed to sign Tomo and, felt that we had ticked one of those boxes and really struggled to find another, bona fide top six guy. And I'm not taking away anything from our current guys. They've come in and done a great job, but we didn't at the start of the year feel that we had ticked both those boxes off. And, to lose Thompson now and that right-handed guy in the circle, a guy that plays all situations, power play, PK, closing out games and key face-offs. It's a big loss for us. And I think even, more importantly, it's frustrating for him as well. He wasn't able to really get any momentum going with, he had a couple of injuries as well before this one. And his season had been disrupted, like I said, a couple times. And, we certainly saw flashes of what he was capable of and the importance he would have brought to this team long-term. So yeah, very frustrated for Tomo, I think mostly. And in the short term here, it is a big loss for us.
He's a great character as well, isn't he? A really, really nice human being.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, although not wearing a letter, he's a presence in the room as well, and he's found a spot, I guess, as a leader in the room, if you will, and very smart guy, very good hockey mind, and good communicator on and off the ice, on the bench, and a guy like we'll miss him in a lot of areas that you see with your eyes on the ice, but also that you don't. So like I said, it's a tough loss for us, but we gotta find ways to move forward and then try to find a body to come in and try to get something from that as well. Will we find a guy like for like? Very difficult at this stage to say, but we certainly got to bring somebody in that's going to make us better.
Are you going to be looking to fill two places? Because obviously you've got no Broll and no Thompson long term.
Yeah.
And also, I guess it's a tough time to be recruiting over Christmas. And with the uncertainty of Corona and Omicron, it's another spanner in the works.
Yeah, the timing of it hasn't been good, and but it is what it is, right? We've got to find a way through it, and we've had a lot of disruptions this season, through suspensions and injuries, and the plant failure, and then this, of course, and then you throw Omicron into the mix, and but a lot of teams are dealing with similar things and finding ways through it. So we do as well, and yes, we're certainly looking to bring two guys. Obviously, if we can shoot for a guy and we can bring him and get him in ASAP, that's what our plan is to do. So you might see maybe one guy in short term, and then get through the New Year's and get some more clarity on this thing, and then get another guy in as well. Maybe when there's some more bodies available and more guys willing to come in that time period.
Yeah, that seems pretty sensible to me. Danny, we've talked a lot in negative terms, I think, with the first couple of few minutes of this, but positively speaking, even despite the disruption of the plant failure, injuries, we had a bit of a run in early doors with suspensions. This is a team that have proven that they can beat any team in this league on any given night. And no greater testament to that, I think, is, and we were recording this on Christmas Eve, is the 23rd against Cardiff in their barn, a last-minute fixtures change, and we go in and beat arguably the best team in the league.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's been several occasions. We touched on that before that game. You think back to when we went into Sheffield there on the back of a couple suspensions, and I think we had a guy down, and Gibby got kicked out, early in the second period, and we were down to, I think, 13 skaters, and found a way to win in Sheffield, and then came back. I believe it was that same weekend, and started the game with 13 skaters in Cardiff, and Halby got kicked out after 6 minutes, and we were down to 12, and found a way to win that, which ultimately put us through in the cup. Yeah. And then turned back the next night and beat Dundee at home 5-1, again with 13 skaters. I think Yanni had come back to give us 13, after missing the previous game with an injury. And when these guys' backs have been against the wall, they've risen to the challenge, and they've galvanized. And same thing on the 23rd. Yeah, last night, unbelievable. I didn't start talking to Cardiff until about 11 a.m.
Wow.
So I don't think anyone suspected that we would agree to it, but I think Todd was more surprised when I told him we were coming than anything. But we managed to scramble and find a bus, and shout out to Go Goodwin's, Manchester's bus company, that came in and fulfilled that fixture for us. And some of our guys, I think, had been out for a dinner the night before, or at home, just maybe a couple quiet ones, and a couple guys were mid-workout when they found out. So things like that, I think guys had already figured. We already knew the game against Fife was canceled, so I think guys had begun to start their Christmas break, and they got a message from me saying, "Hey boys, we might be going to Cardiff," and within 20 minutes I texted them again and said, "Hey, we're going, so let's be ready to go." Keno was back, and we did a quick pre-scout of Cardiff, and scrambled and had a quick meeting and jumped on the bus and got down there. So fantastic. Yeah, a lot of positives. And, certainly on the road, we've played some fantastic hockey, wins in Sheffield, Cardiff, and Glasgow, and, playing, Nottingham. I think, in reflection here going into Christmas, I think we'd like to get some better results at home. I don't think it's been from a lack of effort. I think the Glasgow game was a disappointing performance, and not just a result, but the performance was flat. We weren't good. And then again, Sheffield at home, I don't know what it was, fatigue or whatever the case may be, but we just seemed to be a little bit out of sorts. But I think, for the most part, we've had some good performances where maybe results didn't go our way. I think back to the Cardiff game that we lost, 2-0 with an empty netter. I thought was our best performance of the season. Just couldn't find the back of the net. The Sheffield game that we lost in a shootout. Did everything that game to win a hockey game other than and score that extra one. And even in the shootout, we were up by 2 with one guy left and they found a way. And so, you know what I mean? It's not always the black and whites, it's the gray areas. And, we certainly as a group know that we can be better, I think more consistently from game to game and within games. So, that'll be a key for us after Christmas.
It's quite interesting because we talked to Yanni Kivilati not that long ago. And he was talking about production. He has very, very high standards for himself, doesn't he? He was talking about, I think he had like a 3 or 4 point weekend and he was still saying, yeah, I want to do more. But there are guys that I think you called out earlier on in the season that they needed to produce. And we're starting to see that a little bit more come through, aren't we? Which is great because as you say, we've had games, 2-1, 2-0 losses where a little bit of scoring and that's 2 points in the bag.
Yeah, and I think just in any sport, when you struggle to find in the back of the net, I've said it numerous times. It just pinches the rest of your game. It pressurizes everything else. Your goaltending, your defense, and guys start playing maybe afraid to make that mistake because they realize that maybe you don't have that end product at the time to push back in a game. So I know finding the bend that confidence a lot of the time. We can sit here and we can work on scoring drills and we can talk to guys and keep their and try to keep their confidence up. But ultimately it's a guy going out there and finding results in terms of finding the back of the net. And that's how they're going to get their confidence back. And, you got to put your head down, you got to bear down when you get in those situations and start going to those hard areas to maybe get rewarded a little bit more often. So those are things we've tried to stress. And, we got some goals in Cardiff last night. So hopefully that'll spur some guys on. But yeah, I know these guys know when they're expected to score and they're not. Nobody knows more than them. So, it's a lot of the time it's just bringing them in to kind of see what the solution can be and get them on the right track.
Yeah, we certainly seem to have come together at the back end as well. I mean, we don't need to lay on the superlatives of CJ Mott between the pipes because he's one of the best, if not the best netminder in the league. But with a kind of a 50-50 split on the D, but 3 new guys, 3 retained guys, they seem to have come together really well. You've only juggled the units around once, I believe, so far this season when you've had a full complement.
Yeah, I mean there hasn't been too much, certainly not as much movement than as the forward group, but we've tried different things, but I think we're pretty set in where we are right now. Gibby and Ratsy have done a great job for us. Ikes and Clem, play that two-way style going forward and playing back. And, and I think, they've done a good job for us, both seeing time on the power play. And Halby and Hammer have secured that kind of top pairing and, have been great for us. So I think all of them still have more. I think they all have more. And again, and it goes right through the lineup from them to our forward group to us as coaches. I think it's just finding that consistency and being better from game to game and within games, period to period and shift to shift. And
if you had to summarize just overall the season so far, how would you sum it up? Because for me, it's almost like we're a lot better than our league position suggests.
I think I don't know, maybe I think probably 9 out of 10 coaches right now would tell you consistency, right? But, I think there has been a lot of disruption and I'm not making excuses. You can make excuses at times, but there's also reality and there has been a lot of disruptions and finding that momentum from game to game has been difficult. I think back to that stretch where the plant went down and we had, I think 2 games in 3 weeks, both on the road, no home games. And both games we started well, great first periods, and we put ourselves in a good spot and our discipline got the best of us and those games got away from us. And, you're not able to turn around the next night and try to correct that or, get a home game in and feel the buzz of the crowd and get that confidence back. And, it happens twice in a row. in a 3-week stretch when that's your only 2 games, you got 3 weeks to sit on those, and that can play with confidence a little bit. So I think it's been a season of disruptions. I think at times we've handled it well. I think at times we could handle it better. So I think some very good things, but also some things we need to correct and get better on.
Well, if nothing else, the season's going to have built character, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think we had enough character building stuff already in the last several seasons. So, but I think expectations is another thing, right? Obviously in 1920, we had probably our best regular season in over a decade here in Coventry, and it was a great run. And, we expected ourselves to come back in and have the same expectations to try and follow it up. The fans expect the same. And it's easier said than done. Let's just put it that way. And, having a great season like that is very, very difficult to do. And then to repeat it is even more difficult. And that doesn't mean that we're not working our tails off to replicate that and get back to that. But, it is very difficult to do. And, we appreciate our fans, and we know they'll come out in numbers during these games during Christmas, as long as they're able to, and support us. But no, I know we got a good group here, guys that care, good people, and they all know, and we all know that we need to do better.
Well, Danny, thank you very much for putting some time aside for us. All fingers crossed that everything settles down and we're able to kind of get some consistency in terms of games. It's going to be certainly an interesting stretch.
Yeah, it'll be a heavy second half, I guess. I mean, everyone's calling it second half, but I think we got 41 games left to play minimum, and could be a couple more with progression, right? So we'll have to one game at a time, and obviously those extra bodies getting in will be key for us as well.
I was going to wrap it up, but I've just remembered one thing we haven't touched on, and that was the progression to the Challenge Cup quarterfinal and winning that home leg against Belfast. That competition's been a bit of a stinker for us, hasn't it? Historically, but that's big.
It has been, and we recognize that. It's been something that's always played on my mind as a coach, and I think Guildford and Cardiff have had very good teams the last several seasons, and that's the group we find ourselves in the last several seasons. And I think this year, was a bit tough in the amount of prep we had. I think we had a couple of days together, and then we jumped right into those Challenge Cup games, and not ideal. And it kind of put us on the back foot in that competition. In the last season, 1920, did we play great in the cup? No, I'm not saying that, but in a regular format, we would have progressed, but they trialed the play-in game. And we had that play-in game on the Wednesday against Manchester. Unfortunately, lost that game, so we didn't progress. So, you know what, we didn't have great results early this season, and but you know what, silver lining, you find a way to get through by going down to Cardiff and essentially with 12 skaters and grinding out a 2-1 win there and seeing our way through, and a little bit of puck luck there in the Nottingham Manchester game as well. To kind of solidify our spot. So, you can complain about excuses and bad calls, but I think, we got a bit of luck there in terms of Nottingham and Manchester and them scoring late in that game. So listen, we're thrilled to be through. And then obviously the first leg, I thought we played a fantastic hockey game. It was unfortunate to give that one up in the third and leave the halftime, I guess, if you will, up 1 rather than 2. So a lot of work still to be done. We go into Belfast, it's always a tough place to go, but we put ourselves in a good spot.